We tried to escape 3 times. The first time when I was 8 years old, the second time when I was 10. Both times we failed and were arrested and put in prison. The women and children were in prison camps, and the men were sent to hard labor camps. The third time around, my parents had run out of money. They had sold and leveraged and borrowed and maxed out on everything, and could only afford to pay for one person to escape. And so my parents had to choose. Either it's one of them leaving the other behind with 3 kids, or they chose to send me instead. I was 12 years old at the time and was probably a lot more robust than my siblings. So they took a chance, and I was the family's last hope. So the journey between Vietnam and Indonesia was very dangerous. I, along with the other people, had to try to outsmart the local government agents and police. We had to pretend we were holidaying in a fishing village in the south near the Mekong Delta. We then, in the middle of the night, got onto a fishing boat on the Mekong River, and we made our escape quietly out to sea. We then spent some days out in the international waters, hoping to be rescued or to reach somewhere. But then we ended up running out of food, then we ran out of water, then we ran out of fuel. We ended up drifting towards an oil rig operation. They saw us, they towed us back to where they were, took us out of our boat, put us onto a quarantine area on an oil tanker, and effectively rescued us literally 1 hour before a huge tropical storm. So we were very, very lucky to survive the journey. I think the main challenges were to cope with a very, very different culture. I had never lived in a Western culture before. A very different climate. I had been in Vietnam and Indonesia, where it's hot all year round, and so coping to the colder climate here was a challenge. But I think the bigger challenges were to really adapting to being part of everything that is here in New Zealand, and in my case it was fitting in at school, was making friends and building those connections. It took me about 10 years really to fully adapt, to fully integrate. For me, if I had a wish list, at the top of that would be that in the coming years, New Zealand and Western countries adopt refugees the same way that they adopt international talents that come into their countries to help build their economies. And that means a whole range of things, but fundamentally, we are no different to those who have more means to come into this country to take up new jobs, to fill in the talent pool that is needed, and so forth. So refugees are a pool of talent, and they're certainly an economic as well as social opportunity for any country that takes them on.